Hello everybody, and welcome back for some more news, and we'll try to get this caught up as soon as possible, but there's a lot of news. An Amenity Authority Committee member's apparent change of heart has set the stage for another vote on a cap on amenity rates paid by residents in the northern section of the villages. AAC member Richard Reb Benson announced on Wednesday's meeting that he wanted to revisit the idea of capping amenity fees. In May, the AAC rejected by a 3-2 vote the idea of setting a $140 cap. AAC member Richard Reb Benson announced at Wednesday's meeting that he wanted to revisit the idea of capping the amenity fees. In May, the AAC rejected by a 3-2 vote the idea of setting a $140 cap. Benson said he had voted against the cap in May because he didn't think $140 would be accepted by the project-wide advisory committee, which oversees amenities south of County Road 466. PWAC, which has a heavy debt load thanks to the recent purchase of amenities in Community Development Districts 12 and 13, has no appetite for any amenity cap. I did not want to send something out there that would be dead in the water, Benson explained. There is uncertainty and disagreement as to whether the AAC and PWAC must remain in lockstep with regard to an amenity cap. Benson had joined the AAC chair, Donna Kempa, and the developers representative, Richard Cole, in the majority in the previous vote. AAC members Don Deacon and William Williamson supported the cap. AAC member Jim Vaccaro, who represents Community Development District 1, was not present at last month's meeting. During Wednesday's meeting, Vaccaro said the feedback he is getting from his residents indicates they are in favor of any amenity cap. Seeking the opportunity to strike while the iron is hot, Deacon began pushing for an immediate vote when Benson suggested setting a $199 cap, which is the prevailing rate set by the developer when new and pre-owned homes are purchased. However, there was some confusion about whether the amenity cap was an active agenda item. The printed meeting packets provided to the AAC members suggested it was an active agenda item. However, it had not been included in the online version of the packet made available to the public. Benson indicated he will make a motion for a $199 cap at the July meeting to be instituted October 1. And we'll see where that goes with PWAC, Benson said. What do you think? Do you think we ought to have a cap? Do you think $199 a month is enough? Do you think $140 is enough? Do you think it should be more? What do you think? I'm interested to know. Put it in the description box below. A villager was arrested after allegedly attacking a nurse at the UF Health Brownwood Emergency Room Clinic. Bailey Brewer, 58, of the village of Finney, had been taken to the emergency room for medical evaluation on Tuesday night, but became verbally aggressive toward police officers and medical staff, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. She began to shout obscenities and attempted to yank monitor cables out of the wall. An officer and a male nurse tried to stop Brewer from damaging the equipment, but she kicked the nurse in his right knee and scratched his right arm. She had to be sedated 3 times so the medical staff could complete the evaluation. Brewer was arrested on a felony charge of battery and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. She was released after posting a $5,000 bond. What the hell's the matter with you people? Are you psychologically nuts? Pickleball ambassador in the villages has been freed after more than 2 months in jail in connection with a dispute with his neighbor. William Pickleball Billy Hardig, 78, walked out of the Sumter County Detention Center on Tuesday after spending a total of 2 months and 8 days behind bars. He was sentenced earlier in the day to time served. His original arrest came after the Massachusetts native was caught on surveillance crossing onto a neighbor's property in the Hollandale Villas in the village of St. Charles, according to the arrest reports from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Pickleball Billy had been formally banned by a trespass order from the property of the neighbor, a man in his 70s. After he was released on bond, Pickleball Billy was rearrested after he came in contact with the same neighbor at their postal station. Nancy Faulkner is Pickleball Billy's neighbor, wrote a letter to the judge in his case. She lauded Pickleball Billy is a man of faith who once saved a neighbor's life. She described the problem between Pickleball Billy and the other neighbor as a senseless, long-running feud. Faulkner wrote in a letter, "Seems the neighbor and he can't get along. It's so sad. The villages
friendliest hometown.
Neighbors would go to such extreme measures as this. Why couldn't they come together and reason the problem out? A driver who lost his license after multiple drunk driving convictions was arrested after he was caught behind the wheel in Middleton. Marvin Leon Sprouse, 60, of Lake Panasoffsky, was driving a Chevy pickup at about 11 a.m. Wednesday in the family community near the village's charter school campus when an officer ran the vehicle's license plate and discovered the vehicle's registered owner has a suspended license, according to a arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. During a traffic stop, Sprouse admitted his license had been suspended due to a conviction for driving under the influence. The officer confirmed that Sprouse had been convicted of his fourth DUI in 2014, and his license has been permanently canceled. He was arrested on a felony charge of driving while license suspended. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,650 bond. I want you to think about that. Fourth time arrested in 2014. Who knows how many times he's been driving since then and just didn't get caught. Permanently canceled driver's license, and yet they catch him again after all that, and they released him on a $2,650 bond. Why ain't he in jail? Just put him in jail. The guy's going to continue doing this till somebody gets killed. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement put a hold on a Wildwood man who had been living in Florida for 5 years and never obtained a driver's license. A deputy conducted a random record check on a silver Chevrolet Colorado pickup truck in the area of U.S. 301 and County Road 108 around 5:35 a.m. Wednesday, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. An inquiry revealed that the registered owner, 42-year-old Pedro Miranda Urbina, did not have a license issued to him. A deputy conducted a traffic stop and he told Miranda Urbina the reason for the stop and asked for his driver's license. He was instead given an ID card out of Mexico. His information was used to confirm that he did not have a driver's license or any record of him, the report said. Investigation revealed he was a resident of Florida and lives in Wildwood. He had been living in the state for about 5 years, was gainfully employed as a laborer, and had not tried to get a license, the report said. Miranda Urbina was arrested on a charge of operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. He was transported to Sumter County Detention Center where bond was set at $150 and ICE has placed a hold on him. Residents of a villa community in the Villages have convinced officials to reopen a case about a roof that they argue doesn't match the shingles on their homes. Residents of the San Leandro Villas made their case Friday morning before the Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. The home in question is located at 1135 Santa Cruz Drive. It was purchased by Irene Lonnie in 2005. Upon her death in 2015, it was deeded over to her husband, William Charles Lonnie. He died this past December. Earlier this year, CDD2 was among a handful of older CDDs which agreed to relax its rules on shingle collars in villas due to the manufacturers no longer offering the exact shingle collar used at the time of the home's original construction. The rule change allowed the 1135 Santa Cruz Drive roof to be reshingled with a shingle that was determined to be within the hue range, although not the exact collar. Neighbors vehemently disagreed. They insisted that the correct collar was available, but the roofer did not want to go to the trouble to find it. They reminded the board in 2024 a homeowner was forced to re-roof because the wrong collar shingle was used at the home at 1207 Santa Cruz Drive. Though the deed compliance case about the home at 1135 Santa Cruz Drive had been cleared, 3 supervisors, Jim Kipalone, Jim Conti, and Tom Swears, deemed the facts powerful enough that they agreed to reopen the case. That means the home at 1135 Santa Cruz Drive will come back before the board in a public hearing in the coming months. A potential resolution could be the board demanding that the home be re-roofed. I've talked about this several times because I re-roofed my house. You have to go in front of ARC. You have to get your roof approved. They give you a list of shingle colors that you can use, blah, blah, blah. If you hire the right roofer, that's really not a problem. In this case, though, the problem is these manufacturers don't keep manufacturing the same exact color of roof forever. and it can be a problem. And it's not just roof collars. It can be a lot of collars, paint collars, all these kind of things. So I sympathize with the homeowner. But if that collar is available, and they will check into this, if that collar is available, most of the roofs around here where I'm at, we use Certainteague shingles. That company is over here by Leesburg. The shingle collars are available, but you don't have to use the exact same shingle collars in my district anyway, but they'll give you a list of shingle collars that's approved for your district. And we chose a different shingle collar, but it was all approved. I got the records. I got the paperwork. So I don't know how this will turn out. It'd be awful to pay the money to have your house re-roofed, because you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. That's what it costs. It's not cheap down here. And to have to tear it off and put another one on, I wouldn't want to do it. The owner of a villa has been ordered to clean up a property which has numerous deed compliance violations. The Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors conducted a public hearing Friday at Savannah Center regarding the property located at 2002 Alfredo Avenue in Villa Delaroma. The complaint was lodged on February 11th about torn lanai screens, weeds, mold on the home site, and broken white fence, a dead tree, and tree debris on the property. Matt Armstrong of Community Standards described the violations as numerous. The property has been owned since 2021 by Alfred Avenue LLC. Community Standards had trouble tracking down an actual person despite attempts by phone, emails, and letters. However, at Friday's meetings, Community Standards indicated that it appeared cleanup work has begun at the property. The board gave the property owner deadlines ranging from 7 to 30 days to bring the property into compliance. If the deadlines are not met, fines will be imposed. A lightning strike blew the thermostat off the wall Saturday night at a home in the Villages. The Villages Public Safety Department responded to a report of a lightning strike at the home at 7664 Rutherford Lane in the village of Shady Brook. Upon arrival, firefighters spotted debris on the roof from where the house was hit. The attic was checked, but no hazards were found. The home occupied by a renter sustained a loss of power, and the thermostat was blown off the wall. Seco Energy was contacted to restore power. The home is owned by a couple in Massachusetts who also have a second property in the Villages. Lightning destroyed a house in May in the village of Winifred. Those of you that don't know, there's more lightning strikes in the state of Florida than anywhere else in the United States. Maybe the world, I don't know, but I know in the United States. There's quite a few of them. A handyman who botched a wiring job at a home in the Villages pretended he was a licensed electrician. Jatendra Sakhu, 44 of Leesburg, is facing charges of contracting without a license and is due for arraignment next month in Sumter County Court. A woman hired Sakhu, who was running a business called Jerry's Handyman Services, in October to renovate 2 bathrooms, including moving light switches and adding an additional light fixture at her home in Seneca Villas in the village of Hemingway. According to a report from the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations, she had purchased a villa constructed in 2008 earlier that month for $395,000. The villa owner, who is from Ohio, told an investor that in November, she discovered that Sakhu failed to properly wire one of the bathrooms. He failed to make a proper connections through a junction box, failed to protect wires from contact with metal studs, and had floating wires wrapped only with electrical tape. In addition, there was no installation of ground fault receptacles, and a ground wire was not completely secured in wire nuts. He hid the shoddy work behind drywall, the report said. Sakhu walked off the job, and the woman, who had already paid him $3,800, had to hire a licensed contractor to complete the job and make repairs. The woman said Sakhu had portrayed himself as a licensed electrician on Facebook and other social media sites. The investigator checked state records and found that Sakhu was not a licensed electrician. The investigator had a difficult time tracking down Sakhu. The investigator went to Sakhu's residence in Leesburg, where 2 vehicles were parked in the driveway. The investigator knocked on the door and immediately heard 2 dogs barking. The dogs abruptly stopped barking and no one answered the door. The investigator left paperwork at the door notifying Sakhu of a disciplinary action against him. He was arrested on a warrant last month in Lake County. He remains free on a $1,000 bond. He was arrested earlier this year in Yalaha on a charge of driving while license suspended. I have no idea where Yalaha is. Yalaha. A truck crashed into a tree early Monday morning, blocking traffic on a busy section of a multimodal path in the Villages. The crash occurred at about 6:45 a.m. on the multimodal path along Morse Boulevard across from the Bernst Recreation Center. The driver was transported by ambulance to the UF Health Emergency Room Clinic at Brownwood. The crash is being investigated by the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Members of the amputee support group in the Villages recently had fun taking on a table tennis robot courtesy of the Villages Fun Fitness Table Tennis Club. Richard Cole, resident of the village of Glenbrook and a member of the Amenity Authority Committee, has been leading the amputee support group at Lake Meona Recreation Center since 2014. The members had fun, some exercise and socialization. All had smiles on their faces, said Rotunda Dong of the Village's Fun Fitness Table Tennis Club. Okay, let's have a couple letters to the editor and see what everybody else is talking about. To the editor, the WVLG radio was the only music station in Central Florida to carry a 5-minute news segment with one commercial at the top of the hour. Many villagers appreciated this convenient way of staying on top of the news during the day. Now, in a cheapo move, WVLG has cut the news back to just 2 minutes, truly a radio station that is unlike any other. Not anymore. Boo on WVLG. I remember sitting up there when I first came down here at noontime. I'd sit in rocking chairs next to the radio station with my cup of Starbucks coffee, and I would just sit back and listen to my favorite Saturday at noon to Paul Harvey. I really kind of miss that, but life goes on. To the editor, I totally agree with Aline Gomes' letter to the editor. Absolutely love living in the Villages, just hoping to not get priced out. We have a fixed income, and it is getting increasingly difficult to keep up with the amenities. That's sent in by Kale Zabel from the village of Rio Ponderosa. Thank you, Kay. I feel the pain. To the editor, I am all for the $140 amenity cap for home sites north of County Road 466. I have lived here 23 years in District 3 and have seen the growth of our town. When buildings started south of 466, more swimming pools and recreation centers were built than north of County Road 466. Because of this, I believe the maintenance fees should be less than what the areas with an abundance of pools and rec centers should pay. Thank you for reading my input and considering it in the decision. That's sent in by Casey Sullivan from the village of Glenview. Casey, I see your point, but that's not going to happen. To the editor, I think the northern end of the Villages should be capped at $150, just like Mr. Schwartz wanted it to be. We are not all rolling in money. We live on a fixed income. That's sent in by Aline Gomes from the historic side of the Villages. Well, I think that's going to be it for this section of the news. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing. I want to thank you for joining and supporting this channel on Patreon. If you want to support this channel, I really would encourage you to do it on my Patreon page. You can start out with $2 a month, and you'll get a Discord link for our members-only Discord, and you can ask questions about the Villages. They all get together sometimes, and they meet at a square. They meet at a restaurant. It's a fun thing, and it's growing. The family on Patreon is growing. Or if you don't want to do that, you can become a YouTube member. Easy peasy right here on this channel. It starts out at $5 a month. If that doesn't suit you, then you can always go to my store down below and pick out some items that support some of the things that we support on the channel. One is there's some items on there, and the profits from those items, if you buy them, goes to the Children's Wish Foundation. Because I'm going to do some more news to get caught up. Be well, stay safe, be aware, take care of your health. I want you around for a long time so I can meet all of you.
And don't leave your key in that golf cart.